welcome back everybody to 2 Point Games. This is Mob.
Noob.
Alright, and today we're talking about the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. We're gonna be giving our impressions over what we think about the movie and whatever else. So let's just get going. So I just wanted to first start off with, we're gonna be diving into spoiler territory almost immediately. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to be spoiled, this is your time to leave and come back later after you watch the movie. Alright, cool. So, what did you think about the overall movie, the movie as a whole? Don't think about it as like all the movies. Think about it just as this one movie. What are your thoughts?
Don't think it about like a Star Wars. Just
Yeah.
It's a I guess a good action movie, but
okay.
If you put it in, you could go see it. It's fun. It's exciting. It's confusing a lot of times, but other than that, it's a movie.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's a fun movie, right? It's a fun action movie. Probably not what we expect out of a Star Wars movie, but yeah, it's a fun time.
To be honest, since Disney took over, what can you expect from a Star Wars movie?
It's true. So that leads into my second question: how do you feel about it as the last movie of the Skywalker saga?
So you're asking in the Skywalker saga from start
1 through 9.
Now,
yeah.
How do I like it as an overall ending?
Yeah.
I think the overall ending of it, I don't like.
Okay. Any particular reason or
the
just
whole
vibe?
Lead up to this,
the
whole lead up to this. I'm not even going to go into the Last Jedi. I'm not even going to go into
Sure. Yeah.
But that and then this, it's like, what? It's like the ending of this movie was so out there to me. It just ruined it all. It's like, okay, well, screw it. This trilogy don't exist for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that feel that way. So that's a fair point. Honestly, I don't really consider it as part of 1 through 9. I consider 1 through 6 personally to be like its own thing, right? And then 7 through 9 is just okay. This is just some extra stuff that happened that you really don't need to think about too much because it looks like nobody else did, right? So, so that's fun.
Well, if you do it the 1 through 6, when it comes to the prequels, I know a lot of people have issues with it.
Okay.
I didn't really care for the first one. It was there, it sets it all up, sets the universe up, but I didn't really care for it. But 2 and onward, I think, makes you feel like you're getting into the Star Wars. Like episode 2, to me, felt like we were getting into a point to where we're now setting up this long timeline. And then 3, the final fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin is what set that movie. If that wasn't in that movie, I don't think that movie would have been good, in my opinion. I think that whole point. And then we have all the Luke, and then we end it with this. It's like, what happened?
Yeah.
I know that George Lucas had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, he made the prequels, when the original movies were being made, he knew what he wanted to do with the prequels. It's like, he had this idea, and it's like this, and he just said, "Nah, let's do it." And don't hold me to it. But I read somewhere that they made the movies, but there was no trilogy. Like, they had the trilogy planned, but they had no plots for every movie, and they just went into it. And I think that's what hurt these movies.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. So, I like that you mentioned 1 and 2, right? Where do you place 9? If you had a list of all the movies, which one would it, which number would it be for you? As far as
What's worse, 1 being the worst or 10 being the worst? Let's just say.
Let's say. What do you say?
No, I was coughing. Is one the worst or is one the best?
I would say one's the worst. Let's do that. 10's the best.
Okay, so I would place in the top 3 of the worst. I would probably place Last Jedi, Episode 1, and then number 1 with this. Yeah. No. 1 would be The Last Jedi. Then The Rise of Skywalker. I think that's what this one's called, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And then Episode 1. Those are going to be my 3 worst movies of the series, in that order.
So you say 1 is better than the other 2? Like Episode 1 is better than the other 2?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. That's a hot take. Alright.
Yeah. I'm not saying that movie's good. I mean, the movie's the last, not the Last Jedi, the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's that quality, but if you take out the fact that the Manachlorians are a thing, I think that movie held up okay. As long, the whole politics thing kind of killed it for me, but I mean, the whole Star Wars, I think from the very first movie, it's been nothing but politics. It's like...
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Alright, so I'm not trying to talk about all the movies too much. I just wanted to give a little bit of a background, That's all that was. Alright. So, what do you think about the visuals for this new movie? Like, the presentation, if you would.
Well, I mean, it's a high budget movie. I guess it's only fair. I mean, it looks good for what it is. But like I've said before, it can't hold up to the originals because I know there's a lot of CGI in this one, and there wasn't that much in those. So I'm not going to compare the two because the old ones had a bunch of models and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for a movie in the modern era, I think it looked okay. I mean, I'm sure there's a few things that if I rewatch it, I could point out. Mm-hmm. But overall, I didn't sit there in the theater and was like, okay, that looked horrible.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of its stronger points was how it looked, honestly. Looked great, sound great. Like you said, it's a high budget movie, obviously. But the whole Palpatine thing. Palpatine's back.
I got so many things on this one. This is what I was.
What do you think? Yeah, what do you?
It's gonna be like a 45-minute discussion by itself.
All right, so what do you think about the whole Palpatine thing?
First off, since we're talking about Palpatine, we're going to go back in the first 5 seconds of the movie. The very first 5 seconds. Yeah. That whole opening crawl was horrible.
Yeah.
that whole Palpatine is now broadcasting to the universe. It's like, okay, first off, why? I want to know why he's broadcasting. Second, I want to know how he survives. He doesn't explain. I don't even think it's hinted. I could be wrong. I don't even know how he survives. For starters, we watched the last time we see him, he falls down a shaft and literally blows up.
Yeah.
I really believe he blows up. Or at least poofs into a Wile E. Coyote type crap.
He poofs into Wile E. Coyote. Okay. Then he goes on to make some Looney Tunes. Alright, and he's back.
Right. So that's probably where he ended up. In Toonville. So then the Death Star on top of that blows up.
Sure, yeah, of course it does, right?
So let's pretend he survives all of that.
Sure.
And then he survives in space until somebody happens to run across him? Who does he think he is, Frieza?
He's become more powerful than any other Saiyan, right?
Right. Fuck what Obi-Wan said. You kill Palpatine, you become more powerful than you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's fast forward to the movie. I understand he's all beat up. Okay, cool.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever. But then he wants Kylo Ren, and this is where it gets real bad for me. Okay. He wants Kylo Ren to kill Rey. Okay, cool, you want to kill her.
Okay.
So he sends the Knights of Ren and all these people. The whole plot is to kill her. Then, when he meets her, it's like, I never wanted to kill you. What?
Okay.
So he don't even know what he wants to do.
Okay, so I was in that boat too. but I just rewatched the movie a couple hours ago, and what I think he was doing, right? This is probably giving the movie way too much credit, but what I think he was doing was initially he found Kylo. Kylo found him, right? And he
Right.
wanted Rey. He wanted Kylo to go find Rey, and he wanted him to fight her. And essentially, he wanted Rey to kill him and then come for Palpatine. I really believe that's what he wanted initially.
I agree, and I know that's what his original plan was, because at the very end of the movie, that's what he says.
Yeah.
He says, kill me and take your rightful place, kind of thing.
Yeah, and he wanted her to do it. He didn't want Kylo to do it. So I think he wanted her to kill Kylo so she'd be like infused in the dark or whatever. And then she can come for him and just be solidified in the dark. I think was his plan, kind of. I don't know.
But see, right there, if you even want to pretend that was a thing, there's so many things in this movie that leads from start to the very end that could ruin that entire plan when you could have just brought her there. You know what I'm saying? If that was his plan, he has to bank on so much.
Oh yeah, he does. Oh yeah, no, I totally
because
agree.
He has to hope that Kylo will have some kind of feelings for her, which aggravates me also. But he has to have some kind of feelings for her to try to convince him. It's a whole nother Vader. Join me and together we will rule the galaxy as father and son.
Yeah.
And it's that type of thing is just rehashed. The only difference is we've seen it before and we've seen it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what really, I know because you brought Palpatine up so bad, we can't mention Palpatine without the ending of the movie.
Sure. Okay.
Let's go backwards to episode 3.
Okay.
He's now being questioned by Mace Windu.
Yeah.
About how he's corrupt. They find out he's the Emperor, and they're going to stop him. So what does he do? He fights the Jedi. Mace Windu puts him into a corner, and the first thing he does is he does a little Force lightning. Mm-hmm. So Mace Windu ricochets it back, and he gets to distort his face. Whether that's his true form or what, we're not going into detail. Yeah, so now we know for 100% fact that that lightning can ricochet back at him. He knows that shit hurts. In fact, it hurt him so bad that he had to have Anakin save him. Now let's fast forward to today. So what does he do? He shoots Force lightning at her. Yeah. Not this time, but now she has 2 sabers, and they're crossed, and he's still doing it like, I can still do it. And she ricochets back at him, and it's like it doesn't dawn on him. Like, hold on.
Okay, during that scene, right, I was specifically watching that scene super closely the second time. And I still want to go back and slow it down even more because I'm not sure exactly what's happening there. But I'm thinking that once she pulls out the second saber and she starts to deflect it, then I'm thinking he actually stops at that point. Because earlier in the movie, we saw that she does have the power. She can do the Force Lightning thing, at least a little bit, right? So I'm thinking she's adding her own little Force Lightning thing back at him, and he just can't control it anymore. I think that's kind of what happened. But like I said, I really want to slow it down to see, you know?
We're going to have to wait on this damn movie and watch it scene by scene in that thing just to see if she did that, I'll give it more credit.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all the first time through. But the second time through, I feel like that was happening. But maybe I'm just making stuff up. I really don't know. We won't know until we can slow it down. But I don't know. Because it is kind of ridiculous, like you said. Like the same thing that he did with Mace, he did with her, and then eventually killed him. It doesn't make sense. But I don't know.
Right. And then the whole power structure he has is just ridiculous. He's this all-powerful being. In fact, they show him in this movie being more powerful than what he was in the original film.
Of course, yeah.
Which aggravates me a little bit. So what he literally... So for instance, Obi-Wan thinks if you strike him down, he'll become more powerful than you can imagine. But what he doesn't know, apparently, is if you're half dead and you're floating through space for 4.5 years, 20 centuries or whatever, you come back even more powerful than what you were when you went down.
Well, he only did the lightning thing against the fleet after he drained both Kylo and Rey of their energy. Right? He did like a force drain on them. Like
right.
So I think that kind of
like
they gave him like some Energizer juice or something. I don't know.
What I'm referring to is he goes on this plan. By the way, the whole plan of he's this mastermind. This dude overthrew the Republic.
Yeah.
Overthrew the Jedi. Started a galactic war. Dominated every fucking body to have end up being thwarted by a small resistance army. So this dude's done so many amazing things. And then his plan in this movie is to do what was it? What was the first? Not the first order, the final order. I think that's what his new was the weirdest name I've ever heard. That's literally them sitting in the room, and the movie's 95% done, and it's like, well, shit, we never gave these people a name. Final order. That's it. So he does all this, and his plan is to activate this fleet with one antenna. Without that one antenna.
You know what he did? You know what he did? He hired somebody that was just like the architect of the Death Star to figure that part out.
That's funny how you say that because I've watched somebody review.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what they said.
Oh, really?
It's like, they didn't say it just like that, but they mentioned it. It's like, so what, they did the same thing with the Death Star? It's like somebody designed it and this was their one design flaw? I mean, I understand the Death Star being a flaw. You have the small ventilation shaft in this massive freaking sphere. That the only way, like, if you would figure it out, the only way to know is if you knew it was there. I understand that.
Okay.
My thing is, all of us can tell that was a stupid idea, but no, let's go ahead and do it. Then they want to do. Then they're going to transfer that code to the one working ship in the entire fleet. So not only that, and then every ship has a Death Star cannon. It's like,
why not? Why not? Every ship's as good as a Death Star now. Okay, whatever.
Right, and not only that. And this is from another review. So if anybody wants to cross-reference this and say I'm wrong, right, whatever. But my understanding from this other reviewer was that the whole point of these crystals that they use in these cannons to take them out, they were being wiped out. So they built the Death Star in the planet because it was the last of its kind. And they fired it to the New Republic where they're at now. So as far as I understand it, is they were completely wiped out. They're no longer there. But yet we have enough crystals to put one on every ship. And there's like 1,000 ships there. Not only that, he rose them up with just his hands. Like he just, fuck it, I can do it. And then the worst part, and the most funniest part to me was, his plan could have went and nobody could have stopped him if he did not announce.
He didn't tell everybody about it. It's so true.
It's like, I'm gonna raise an army.
Well, I think his first priority was trying to revive the Sith, right? Because he knew he wasn't gonna be able to hang on forever. So he was trying to revive the Sith, and then he wanted to use the fleet to like kill everybody, basically. I think. I don't know.
I feel like if it was me.
Yeah.
And I wanted, my fleet being rose out of a dead end would be my priority. Because if I start this war knowing what happened the last war I started, I know what could happen. You know, a lucky child that shoots want rats in the fucking with a T-16.
Sure, yeah.
Sit there and destroy my entire base, not once but twice. If he can stop me, I'm pretty sure Rey and her plot armor can do it.
Her plot armor.
So let me go ahead and just raise my fleet, get them off this hellhole of a planet, get them ready, and just have them in space. And then do all this. So what are they going to do? You know, they were losing, and oh my god. All right.
Here we go.
No, we'll mention that later. So raise your fleet up, get them out of the atmosphere, and then start.
Mm-hmm.
Because even them even mentioning the antenna, I already knew that's exactly what's going to happen.
Sure, yeah.
And sure enough, it was everybody went straight for that antenna. And the second they moved it to the ship, it was like nobody knew what to do anymore. And don't get me started on them running with damn wildebeests or whatever the hell they were on the damn side of the ship.
Some of the horses?
Yeah.
They were horses. Yeah. I mean, the plot set up some good shots, right? But that was about it.
I feel like it's 4 or 5 plots in this movie.
4 or 5 plots.
One main one and a bunch of ones that they thought would be interesting, and then they gave up midway through.
Yeah.
Like the whole arc between Finn and Rey. I foresaw them being together.
You foresaw what?
Them being together. The entire first movie. Like when she goes down versus Kylo. He freaks the fuck out and he grabs the saber. I was like, oh hell yeah. So now we have him. And I thought it was really cool how he got beat up because he wasn't really trained in the Force. I like the fact he got beat up, but he went out there and tried. That tells me, just like I've always believed, not Jedi, anybody can pick up a saber. It's only the Jedi and whoever's been trained know how to really use it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what he did really good, and that's what he did really good with in The Force Awakens, I think. I mean, well, that's what his character was good at, was saying, hey, anybody can use it, but anybody can't use it good, you know?
Yeah.
Talking about the lightsaber, yeah.
Like Grievous. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And I believe in the second movie, see, I've only watched it one time, could care less to ever watch it again. So I'm sure I probably get this wrong, but I think in the second movie, besides having Rose introduced, he was still really into Rey. Like, it was, he really liked her. I know in the first one, he was, like, screaming her name a lot. Like, he didn't want her hurt.
See, that's what I got too, but I don't think that's what they were going for.
I really believe, in my personal opinion, I believe that's what they were going for. And then as the second movie came out, it changed. Because in the third movie, they didn't even care about each other at all. Like, it was just like, oh, well, you're here. And he just didn't care. In fact, Rose, I think, is not even in this. The only reason why Rose is in the movie, because she was introduced in the movie before, I think she only has 2 lines in the entire movie.
Well, she has like 3 or 4 small scenes. Very small.
The only scene I remember her being in is in the very end, is when he's about to blow up the planet, and he's like this heroic sacrifice, which doesn't make damn lick of sense anyway. It's always got to have a heroic sacrifice. I think he's tried to kill himself off twice in these damn movies, because he knew how bad that they were going to be. And she's begging him to come on, and he's like, no. And that's the only one I remember her being in. That's the unmemorable one that she.
Sure, yeah.
And then the whole Rey and Kylo kiss. It's like, oh well, I mean that was trope. I mean, I didn't think they were going to do it, but I'm not surprised that they did it.
Okay, so yeah, I was feeling the same way. I was like, okay, I can kind of see it, right? But then the second time through, I'm like, they really drew that shit out. It was like a good 5-6 seconds. So it's like, I feel like they didn't set it up enough to really go for that, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, and that whole thing that they have this weird connection, that also aggravated me. And back to Palpatine. How did he not know? Because see, if you watch the first movie, I think it's either the first or the second movie, Snoke actually admits that he's the one that made the connection between.
That's in The Last Jedi, yeah.
Yeah, so he made this connection. Then you go into The Rise of Skywalker, and I quote, I was Snook the whole time. I'm the voices who've been guiding me this entire time. How did you not know that she was going to, I'm just going to scratch the back of my head with this lightsaber real quick and save Kylo? Like, how did you not see that freaking coming?
Well, he did his Sith thing. He, like, closed his eyes and he was like, yo, you're going to do what I want because I want it. And he's going to, like, trust her for some weird reason to do it. And then she just totally said, fuck off.
Right, like, let's be real. Like, I don't want to be a Palpatine. So what do? I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust everything you say.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I did like the fact that all the Sith, that's the only cool thing I think about in this entire scene. Was all the Sith conjoined into the temple where, they were all part of the ritual.
Were they Sith?
And,
I thought they were just like Sith, like followers or whatever.
I
don't think they were actually.
When he said Sith,
uh-huh.
when he said Sith followers, what I was thinking was what the people like the First Order, the Sith, followers, royalists, that type of thing. I foresaw that. When I saw, and I'm sure I could be wrong. I'm sure they probably screwed that up too. But when he said, I think they appeared in the movie when he said, we are the last of the Sith. This is the temple of the, this is where, a lot of the stuff that happened with the Sith. And join me and we will reign again. Like, we will continue on.
Sure,
yeah.
So,
that's when they all started to appear.
So this actually...
So I assume those were all the Sith in the past. About to be here for the ritual to continue on with what they were doing.
So this brings up...
Because he said, I am all the Sith that have ever lived.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she's like, well, I'm all the Jedi. But yeah, he's like, I'm the Sith. I'm all a Sith. And that's when I remember them appearing into it. I remember them appearing out of nothing.
No, the people were there the whole time. No, when Rey walks into the room, she sees the audience of those people, like things, right? That's the first thing she sees. And then she sees Palpatine after the fact. So they've been there the whole time. I thought it was the other way around. No, it wasn't. But that brings up a good point. What's the point? So I already forgot. Oh yeah, the way he was like talking like he was all the Sith, and when you kill one, they go into the person who killed him or something. Like that whole ideology, that whole like thing that would happen. This is the first time in Star Wars that idea has been introduced, as far as I know. So, do you think he was just blowing smoke there and trying to make him seem like the last, like, whatever? Or do you think that's based in some type of truth? What do you think about that?
I think it's just bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds like some great A Palpatine bullshit.
If that's the case, Luke should have been, well, not Luke, Vader should have been all-powerful. He should have been able to fix himself after he killed the all-powerful Emperor. But my understanding, the whole Rule 2, and I could be completely wrong, well, not the whole Rule 2, the whole Sith, from the game, the Old Republic, from the Extended Universe, from right before, from the books that came right before with Plagueis, whatever his name is.
Plagueis, yeah.
All that, the whole point, hell, even in the fan-made videos for these people, the whole point is the master to eventually kill the apprentice to eventually take over the master by killing him.
Sure.
And then they go to the apprentice. The entire time in the Old Republic game, the whole game is based on, I gotta kill this guy to take his position. There's no, I gotta kill this guy so he can become me.
Yeah.
And then he'll just continue. Because if that's the case, then I'll start a fight with the most youngest person in the world. Just let him kill me. Fuck it. I'll be back. In fact, I think the game, the Old Republic, there's a part in the game where she tries to do a ritual specifically to make herself younger by taking over a character's body. It's not just kill me and go, because your characters in those games kill. So this, I believe, from there, all the way with the extended books, all the way to now, I think that was I honestly don't even think these people watch the originals. I don't even think they know anything about it.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that, but
I'm not a big EU reader. I haven't read
sure.
I know a lot of the characters. But if I'm making a video or a movie, I best believe there's lore. I'm gonna read it. I mean, we've already seen in movies what happens when you don't read the lore. You have, the new Star Wars movie. You have Dragon Ball Evolution. You have all these backgrounds and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff you can read, you can learn, and it's like, no, let's just avoid it like the plague. And I feel like that's what was like here.
Well, that was Disney's whole MO, though, right? make everything. Disney's whole thing though when they took over was make everything not canon. That way they could just do whatever.
It's because they didn't want to read it. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the only thing it is. It's like, you know what?
Probably.
It's not that hard.
Probably.
It's not that hard. Let's just go to Wikipedia and look at the big bold letters, and that's how. Just read the bold letters, and you'll understand the plots on everything. Okay, so we do. You don't have to do. Okay, so for instance, you can have the extended universe. In my opinion, if it was me, I would erase the extended universe anywhere after. If this is what you were going to do, anywhere after the whole Luke beating and Vader beating Palpatine. I forget what it was. Was it Return of the Jedi? I can't remember.
What are you asking?
But the last of the trilogy. Was that
Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I erase all the extended universe from there onward.
Yeah.
So you can now have a clean slate. Anything before that, what does it matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's like, no, we don't want to read it, let's just redo it. So not only and that even aggravates me this, let's go back to it. Death means absolutely nothing in these movies no more. I know we talked about it a little bit last night, but death means absolutely nothing in these movies no more. You have Yoda summoning lightning, destroying a tree, he's dead. You have Luke in this movie literally catching lightsabers and lifting shit out of water. It's like, okay, so why'd you even die if you're just going to do all this anyway?
Yeah. Yeah, some good points.
This movie puts me off.
That's fine. Yeah, so we talked a lot about the ending, right? What did you think about the beginning? Did you realize or did you recognize that Kylo was fighting on Mustafar in the beginning of the movie?
I didn't know what the part where after the opening crawl, if you call it a crawl, it's like the opening slideshow where he's fighting in the trees with those weird
aliens. Yeah. That's supposed to be Mustafar.
That did look nothing like Mustafar. Ain't Mustafar like a volcanic?
Okay.
Planet?
So I believe this was a Star Wars theory. I was watching his video about it, and what he was saying was in the Vader Immortal VR game, which is canon, right? They introduced the concept of there was this life energy thing, like in Mustafar, that basically they used in that game to start creating life on the planet again. So it's no longer a volcanic planet, but now it's starting to grow into like the planet it once was, which is why you start to see trees and stuff. I don't know.
When did that take place?
That's like the whole thing happened. Huh?
When did that take place?
That game?
Yeah. Before or after Battlefront 2?
Before. Definitely before, because Vader was like at the height of his power, right?
Okay, well, in Battlefront 2, isn't part of the story where she goes to Mustafar and it's still a volcanic place where
Does she go to Mustafar?
I thought she did.
I don't think so.
Or it's one where you play as I know for a fact Lando is part of it.
What? What are you talking about? What game is this?
I know there's a mission in the game. I don't know if it's Battlefront 2. But I know there's a part in the game where Lando and what's-his-face, they go on to the planet and they stop with Droid Factory or whatever factory.
No, that's a different planet. No, I think you're talking about in the first Battlefront, EA's Battlefront. I think you're talking about that, yeah, that was a different planet. That's a totally different planet. Forget what it is. Yeah. That wasn't lava either.
It was?
No, it wasn't lava. No, it was like a blue industrial planet or something. I don't know. But
for whatever reason, that screamed Mustafar to me.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. Okay. So I thought that scene was pretty cool, though. Showing him just wiping out legions of people, you know? Or what we can assume is to be legions of people. But,
That would suck to come back for the first time. Life was starting all over, and this ass just comes in and kills us all.
Right. Okay. So, everybody's favorite smuggler came back in this movie. Han Solo. And Lando. But I'm not worried about Lando. Alright. Han Solo. So, did you realize, right, that Kylo's memory that he had with Han, that's what it's called. Like, he calls it a memory, and everybody calls it a memory because that's what it is, right? That is pretty much the same scene from The Force Awakens when he kills Han. Like, you should go back and watch that scene from The Force Awakens because it pretty much mirrors that scene almost exactly. Except the very end, instead of stabbing him, he throws the lightsaber away. Like, they have, like, very similar dialogues in both scenes. Which I thought was really cool. Which would make sense
because it's a memory.
Exactly. I was like, so how was this a memory? Like, the first time through, I'm like, it doesn't seem like a memory. We've never seen this. But thinking about it again the second time through, I'm like, oh, this is the same scene from The Force Awakens. So that's pretty cool. So they called back to their other movie, which was pretty weird. Because the whole movie, they're calling back to other movies, so now they're calling back to their own movie. Like, I don't know, man.
No, like some people were arguing that was a Force ghost and how Hans had it. Well,
no, it's not.
He wasn't a Force ghost, in my opinion. He wasn't.
He wouldn't
because he wasn't glowing.
Yeah, he would have been blue. That's how you know.
And a lot of people were like, "Well, why would he be there if he's just a memory?" Well, I know that. I mean, I'm not defending the movie. I'd be the last person to defend this movie.
Yeah.
But in order to show context, rather than having him argue in his head, a lot of movies would put the person that died or whatever reason there, and they would have a dialogue. It's like him talking in his head, but for us, we're seeing it.
Sure, but also earlier in the movie, Rey said she saw him in a vision, still struggling with Han's death, right? So I think that was, like you said, to show the audience that this is something happening in his head, but they're portraying it like he's there in front of them just for our sake, I think that's what it was. Like you said.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was no issues with that. The only issue I had...
I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to see him one more time, But yeah.
I think he said Mom's dead or something.
Sure.
And he said, I know. It's like, if that's memory...
No. So what happened was Ben was really struggling. They did the I know thing. It was like the Han and Leia thing. They did the I know thing because Ben was really struggling. He was really trying to tell him he loved him or whatever. Like, as his turnover back to the light. And Han just gave him a free pass as I know. Which is supposed to be a callback to the other movies, right? So that's why. Because it was just supposed to signify him going back to the light. But yeah.
I really feel like Han Solo was put there. I feel like he wasn't really a part of it. I feel like Leia was supposed to.
Yes. So Leia, right as she died, I believe she used her last, bit of energy she had. It may have even been a force projection of Han, like Luke did, but of Han. It may have even been something like that. But we know that Leia did do something with the force to try to get to it at that moment.
Yeah, no, I believe it would have been like Leia's last thing would have been to do her own force projection like Luke did versus Kylo. And that's what she gave her last thing, but
I think we might have seen that if obviously she had died. Yeah, exactly.
No, me personally, I feel like she should have been killed off in the other movie. Only because of her death. I felt like because you only had, let's just say, 5 scenes in a 2-hour-long movie. You have 5 scenes with her in it. You have to rearrange the dialogue to put the characters in said scenes just so they can communicate with each other. I feel like that's just too much and too much disorienting to me. Because that's all we see in the movie is that she just says Ben and dies.
Sure.
I would have been more happy with her dying in a blaze of glory. Like what I would have always assumed Leia was. In fact, in the first movie, you first see her, she wants to go down the damn hallway and shoot a bunch of shit. No, better yet, first scene in the movie she's ever introduced in.
Yeah.
She's right face to face with this most evil tyrant in the world.
Yeah.
And the care two shits. Like, I don't give a, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, it's like I would have loved to see her go down like that. Hell, I would have been okay with. I don't know about everybody else, but take the purple haired woman out from the. See, I don't even know these people's names. The purple-haired woman out in the original, in the Last Jedi, and put Leia in that position.
I see.
I might not. I mean, it was a cool scene, but I foresee Leia going down like that rather than laying. I'd rather her see going down like that. Hell, going down fighting the Emperor himself for all I care. I mean, I'd rather her go down fighting than her laying in a bed. That's just my interpolation of Leia. Only because this entire time leading up to this, she's been an empowered female character the right way.
Yeah. So what I did like about how they used Leia was in the beginning, Rey refers to her as her master or whatever. So that kind of infers that Leia took it upon herself to like further train Rey after Luke died, right?
Right.
So I thought that was a pretty cool little touch. Like, she's the master now, and now she's training Rey. And then we saw a little bit of flashback of how Luke was training Leia. Like, I thought all that stuff was pretty fun. You know, I thought it was great.
But, I mean, it was fine. I just felt like, I don't know. It just felt like they tried to do so much to her.
They did.
And like somebody said, I don't know if it was you or something. They were like doing the whole CGI thing. I said, hell. Tarkin was in the entire Rogue One movie, and he wasn't even there anymore. So it's not like they couldn't do it.
Yeah, so we were talking about Leia, some parts being CGI last night. And when I was watching the movie again, I was trying to look for if I could spot those parts. The parts that looked the most fake were some of the scenes where she had her back turned. Like she wasn't really there, but they didn't use a stand-in, like... It was kind of weird, you know, on some of those scenes.
Like she was just kind of, her body was there, but there was nothing.
Exactly. They tried to put her in a scene that she wasn't in, but they had to CGI it, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, though, when we saw her face, like, it usually looked pretty good, so I don't know.
Well, no, the other CGI part that I remember is the flashback scene. Like,
oh, obviously. You talking about younger?
The second.
Oh, obvious.
But the thing is what aggravated a bunch of people is the director swore they would never do it. They did it the one time in Rogue One, and they said they won't do it again, only out of respect to her. And they did it twice in this movie. And one time you said, I'm sure they probably squeezed it in a little more, but the one time for what you said and the flashback, which the flashback technically didn't have to be there. You could just told us they had a training. Hell, Luke could have stood there talking to her saying, when I trained Leia, she was just like stubborn as you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really love how the X-Wing had no damage to it. Like it's been sitting underwater all this damn time.
It's fine, yeah. They build those things to run forever, right?
Oh, okay. No, it's not like he had a. I think he have to repair or like he had to. No, there was damage when he crashed in on freaking where Yoda's planet, whatever the hell that was.
Dagobah.
Dagobah.
Yeah.
I ain't watched that movie in so long, it just came back. You see how memorable those movies are? That's what's wrong with these movies. I can tell you where the hell they were fighting half there.
Well, it's because they changed locations like 10 times in a minute most of the time. There's way too many locations.
Go back to your question about everyone's trader, everyone's favorite trader.
That was it.
Lando.
Oh no, I was just talking about Han, but yeah.
Oh, Han.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Everybody's favorite trader. See, I saw you going to Lando.
I know. I saw. I thought you saw me doing that, but that's not what I was like. No. All right. Okay. How about this? That knife. The knife with the plot armor.
Fuck that.
Do you know what I want to ask about it? Do you know what I want to ask about that knife?
How I felt the whole point. That knife, everything the knife was representing.
Not even. So, the thing that really bugs me with the knife, okay, it's a cool Sith relic, right? I think it looks cool, whatever. What I really didn't like was, did they forge that knife after the Death Star was destroyed, after Return of the Jedi? And then after the pieces were scattered on the moon? Did they shape the knife into that specific pattern? Or did they know, a millennia ago that the Death Star would blow up and that we would need the knife with the little thing to point exactly where she had to go? Like, did the Sith know everything? Like, I don't know, man. At this point.
It starts crying all over again. No, yeah, they had to have. Somebody's like, I'm gonna hide this little relic in this Death Star, and I'm gonna just lay it right here. Now let me mark that. Let me take some pictures. Let me draw on this old paper. Okay, now I gotta build a knife in case the Jedi need to find it.
That's what it seems like. I mean, I don't know what else would make sense. How the wreckage of some ship would match exactly the edge of the knife or something like that. That doesn't make any freaking sense to anybody. I don't know what they were thinking.
No, I don't know. The whole knife thing was ridiculous.
Yeah.
What really aggravated me about this whole thing is, from my understanding, and before I get into all that, I heard somebody else say that there is a deleted scene in the movie that introduces the dark Lando and the girl, dark haired girl. She's with Finn at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah. The stormtrooper. Yeah.
Yeah. No, was she a stormtrooper?
Yeah, she was a defective stormtrooper.
Yeah,
she was like, there was a bunch of us or whatever.
To land on.
Yeah,
she was on the planet that they magically happened to land on.
Yeah.
She just happened to be there. Anyway, from my understanding, she's Lando's daughter.
Well, she was originally supposed to be Lando's daughter. But I don't know if they ran with that. I don't know if they went with that. It's very unclear.
Well, I feel like they did, because if you watch the last part of the movie, it's like a really creepy scene.
So what, where he hits on her?
Yeah, he's like, so, what's next for you? And she's like, well, I just met you, but I think I hang with you or something. And he's like, okay, yeah. And then he did this weird, creepy smile. It's like, yeah.
Do it.
Now that you can find out that that's your daughter, how creepy is that now?
He was like, let's find out together.
Right?
I love it.
So that's why he was on the planet that they ended up on. That's why he never left. Because another reason why wouldn't he leave? And then you have this master.
Okay.
You have this master Jedi who's hunting down this one guy to get the said knife.
Yeah.
To take him to end this movie altogether. And, which is fine, okay, whatever. So Luke couldn't figure out where this guy was, even though, by the way, the desert was completely barren. Except one ship that's sitting there. And, so it's one ship that was sitting there.
Uh-huh.
Then to add to that, he's just, oh, well, yeah, I'll take it. We couldn't figure it out, whatever. And then the worst part, and I think another thing with Lando is, the worst part is I think, how did he get all those people to help at the end of the movie?
He's just the best. He's like, I'm Lando, I'm back. This is Chewie. You remember us with the heroes from the Rebels or whatever. We're back. Let's go. I know you guys have been waiting for this. You waiting for me to come back. I'm back. Let's go. And then he brings everybody.
Right, but there's throw holes in your little plot right there.
Yeah.
He's not Sith. He's not Jedi. He has no connection to the Force.
He's a celebrity,
yet somehow
right?
These ships look like, these ships look like they're from different planets. Different civilizations.
Sure.
So how did he get to all these different planets and save them in time?
Because he's the best.
Okay, so that's what we're going to keep going.
I mean, what else is there? I mean, honestly.
What else was there? Yeah.
Okay.
So Luke couldn't figure it out because he didn't want Luke to go any further, so he couldn't find this one little guy with his dagger.
Yeah. So Luke couldn't figure it out. He packed his bags and went home. Yeah. Not to mention the desert. There was this orange sand everywhere in the desert, because that's what the desert looks like. In front of the ship, there's one patch of gray bullshit, and he doesn't think to check that.
And then after that, how do they fall through the sand? And nothing falls on top of them. They just kind of, tunnel, I'm here.
Yeah, that sand was just like the opening of like some secret tunnel. Was what it was. I don't know, man. I feel like we missed the scene. We saw the scene where they fell in. We saw the scene where they came out. I feel like the scene in the middle is what we missed there. Like, what actually happened?
Well, if you watch it, like really pay attention. They're walking through the thing, which that's the one joke I think I laughed in this movie. Is when Poe pulls up the flashlight. It's like, yeah, I got a flashlight. Don't worry. And she activates her fucking saber, and the whole time.
Dude, that was great. That was good.
And he just looks at his flashlight and like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay then.
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that the first time, but the second time I laughed. I was like, oh, this is too good. He's like, well, damn, this is useless.
Right. That was probably the one I laughed at the most.
That was the best one, probably.
But there's a scene, if you watch it, they walk into the tunnel and they see the worm. Let's just say it's a worm.
Yeah, it's a worm.
They're normal. But if you watch the part where she goes to heal the worm, she looks like she's been through something.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. You saying like they didn't look the same in both shots?
What I'm saying is there's a scene, from my understanding, it's completely rumored at the moment, but they fight. She does the damage to the worm.
No.
And out of apology, she heals it.
No, they do not fight the worm. They never fight the worm.
No, I'm telling you they're not fighting it. I'm telling you that I'm saying that's the part that's missing.
You're saying there was probably a scene in between where they did fight the worm, and then they stop, and then she goes to heal it.
Right. Because if you look at it, the worm's scared of them.
Maybe, actually.
Like, the worm's scared of them, however, that he had no issues killing the guy before him. And then she's, like, all panicking. They're all panicking. It's like, hold on, stop. I mean, he just fucked us up kind of thing. And she goes to heal it, and they're kind of, like, apologizing to it, and then he goes off his merry way. And they all, in my opinion, I mean, I have to watch it again, but they look like they've been roughed up just a little bit. Like the hair strand is just off kilter or something. Like he just dodged. But I mean, it felt, even if you watch it, even if I'm wrong, watch it. It still feels off. Like, why would you see the worm? You don't know it's hurt yet. You just know it's there.
Yeah.
You know, let me go ahead and heal you because I know that particular part is what I hit. Even though it wasn't the inside of the worm's body, like it couldn't. Not inside the body, but...
Yeah, like on the other side, you can't see it from where you're standing. Or she's standing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I feel like that's the part that I'm talking about you missed. I know they don't fight the worm, but that's the missing part.
I see what you're saying. It does feel like there's a few places like that, where there may have been a scene there, but it got cut out for some reason. I don't know. That seems to be a common theme throughout the movie, too. Like, I feel like we got, like, three quarters of the movie.
Yeah, I'm sure the Blu-ray will have 4 hours of extended footage.
That'd be awesome.
And then the movie would make sense. And then it would make sense. And that's another thing. I really hate movies that tell me important plot parts like I have to read it. Like, why? Like, the beginning part is like, why did I have to know that he came back? Like, I would love to see him come back. But no, he's just wrote in back.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying it would be better for you if they showed him doing something without saying he's back, like, literally?
Right.
Yeah, and then we can kind of fill in the gaps, like, in our heads, right? But I think...
Well, I mean, even that, like, the last thing we see, I think I can't even remember.
Yeah.
We see Snoke die.
Okay.
Now there's no big bad guy. Now we're assuming Kylo's taking over.
Sure.
So I would like to see in this movie, or even, in this movie, have a scene where Palpatine just makes his move like Kylo's doing this thing and he feels some kind of weird disturbance. And it's the introduction of Palpatine return.
Yeah.
Like, because apparently he's been in his head this entire time.
That's what he says, yeah.
I'm not saying come back to life. I'm just saying reintroduce yourself.
Sure.
I know no 10-year-old kid who loves Star Wars is not going to know who Palpatine is unless they showed the first movie.
Oh.
So it'd be nice to have an introduction rather than reading Palpatine Return.
That's actually a good point. The 10-year-old kid that doesn't know who Palpatine is. So you say that, but how is everybody in the movie? How does everybody in the movie know who Palpatine is?
That's the other thing. It's like
in the originals, nobody knew he even existed, except for a handful of people. So how does the whole galaxy know about him now?
Right.
That's actually something that's been bugging me, honestly.
Yeah, see, I didn't think about it. I mean, I know I thought about it, but it didn't dawn on me until you, like, to mention it, until you said it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, hell, they all knew.
And everybody knows his name, like it's just, like, the craziest thing.
Yeah, because in the original, okay, so it went from, in the prequels, he was Palpatine.
Sure, yeah.
Chancellor Palpatine. He did his thing behind the scenes, but the Sith didn't even know he was Palpatine.
Yeah.
The Sith knew as Master or Emperor. Or whatever.
Okay.
The Jedi and all them only knew about the Emperor. They were still talking to Palpatine. They knew of Palpatine, and the Sith knew about the fucking Emperor. In fact, he had them so far in the dark that I think they kidnapped Palpatine, not knowing that it was the Emperor, their boss. And that's how little either side knew.
Are you talking about the beginning of Revenge of the Sith?
I'm talking about all of them. Yeah.
I think so. If we want to jump,
I know there's backstory.
I
know. I think there is backstory that Dooku knew, and that's what he was so shocked about. But I don't think it's ever explained in the movies.
Oh, of course Dooku knew. Yeah, of course he did.
But the thing is like he had these people so far in the dark, nobody really knew who he was.
Sure. Yeah.
Order 66 happens, and my understanding. Order 66 happens, and he goes completely dark. Palpatine's gone. It's now the Emperor and Vader.
Yeah.
Yet everyone and their mother knows in this movie, like, oh, well, I'm Palpatine. So what did Luke do? Kill him and write a story about Palpatine?
That's what it seems like.
Have you heard? Let me tell you.
I think he was trying to kickstart his nonfiction business.
Let me ask you a question, Mob.
What's up?
And I want an honest answer.
Oh boy.
Have you ever heard the story of Palpatine the Wise?
No, I don't think I have.
Let me tell you. That's Luke to everybody he ever
He was talking about Palpatine the Wise. That's good. That's good. Oh, man. It does seem like it, huh? Like, I think someone else...
It's like nobody believed Luke saved us.
Uh-huh.
So Luke had to go on an extended tour to prove that, hey, look, I saved. Look, there was this guy named Palpatine. He ended up becoming the Emperor.
Yeah.
He, you don't even know this shit he did.
Yeah.
Killed my uncle over some blue milk. I don't know.
Yeah, so it might have been... So I was watching some other reviewers, right? And it may have been Funhouse, I think, that were saying that it seems like everybody in Star Wars has watched Star Wars now. And that seems weird.
So what you're saying is the trilogy that we have now is the entire universe of Star Wars, and everything we watched before are just movies they had on the shelf.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Like, no. Oh, hey, if you want to know,
unless
some weird stuff happens, let's watch these Ewoks beat the Emperor.
Unless, actually, if you want to think about it, we do the same thing in our world, right? We make movies and we tell stories about things that happened in the past. So maybe that's what happened with the originals and the prequels. Maybe they've been transformed into movies or books or plays or something. And maybe that's how everybody knows about it. There's no evidence of that in any of the stuff, but it'd be cool.
Do you understand how much hate you're going to get because of what you just said?
What?
Sitting there saying that they're just stories, they're just books. You know, oh, there you go. I just realized. Yeah.
No, I'm saying in the Star Wars universe. I'm saying, what if they did that? And that would make sense how everybody would know about it. Maybe. Right?
I still feel like it'd be kind of weird, in my opinion, how these stories have the exact same people. And even a guy that's been known dead just magically comes back too.
Who?
It's like...
who was that?
He's like the big bad wolf.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
No, what was the other thing I was saying? Yeah, that's what Yoda realized that, hold on, shit, they're about to find our movies. And he sets fire to the tree with all the books in it. Little did we know that the original trilogy was also in
that. They were also in that tree.
But
they were part of the
now we'll
sacred
never
text.
know. Now we'll never know.
Some of the sacred texts were the screenplay for Star Wars.
No. See, that was perfect. The whole Yoda thing was the perfect metaphor. It's George Lucas bringing Disney the script. This is you don't have to use the script, but these are my ideas for the next trilogy.
Oh,
they're like, okay, so they put him in the tree, and they had Yoda set that sumbitch on fire, and that's pretty much what they did in this entire trilogy.
Are you saying his script was in there?
Yeah.
Damn.
Like,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Maybe
that's what happened. That's why we're in the predicament we're in.
Yeah.
We're in the predicament we're in because they accidentally set that tree on fire.
Yeah, accidentally. That was
pretty,
it was pretty
or the script could have been in the X-Wing. And when Luke said, you know what, screw it, because he couldn't find the one little dagger, he went off and hid from the world. That aggravates me too. He didn't find the dagger, so what does he do? He goes on a planet and erases all charts of existence in the directions of that planet. At all. Like, couldn't find a dagger. He tried to kill him.
Well, I think there was a significant time jump there, though. I pictured Luke being a lot younger when he was looking for the dagger and all that. Maybe I'm wrong.
I pictured Luke being a whole lot different.
I don't know.
Than what we saw. Like, the whole... I don't know. I understand the concept, I guess. But I still don't understand the whole I'm gonna kill him because he had a bad dream.
You know, you're talking about The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I know.
But, no, he goes back. Yeah, that was The Last Jedi. And he went back in this movie. They tried to fix that in this movie by basically him saying he was wrong or whatever. But, I think, really...
No, but trying to kill somebody having a bad dream... Like, that's the thing. Trying to kill somebody with a bad dream and over a bad dream. That just screams pushing him to the dark side. That's all this shit in motion for no reason. He could have just let the kid wake up and ask a question. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was getting at, though, is there just wasn't an actual... As much as I was hoping there would be something... I don't know I don't know why I was hoping for it. But there didn't seem to be an actual arc for this trilogy. I think this trilogy felt like three disjointed movies.
No, that's what I was
that were taking place about the same time as each other.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Well, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like it's like they knew that they were making 3 movies. But then each movie didn't have a plot lead. Like, for instance, you knew from the first trilogy, you knew the Jedi were gone. You had one guy. The second movie, he trained. He tried, the first movie is like, I can beat him, don't worry, and loses. Training, then goes and wins the Saves the Day. That's all 3 movies leading up to an end cause. This movie is like, we had this guy had this idea. Now this other guy is like, well, shit, now I gotta fix everything. There was no start to finish, I believe. I feel like they maybe had characters they wanted to do, but there's so many arcs that were just abandoned. The Rey and Finn arc is abandoned. I can't remember what movie, but it's abandoned. It was set up. I feel like at some point Finn would have had some force powers, not force powers.
The whole Rise of Skywalker
had enough force to adapt.
There were various scenes where it looked like he was about to do something, or it looked like he was having feelings about something, about maybe being a force user or something. But then it never actually paid off. It never paid off.
Yeah,
I feel like his whole character was super underused. Like, he could have been a really cool idea of a character.
Not only that, if you remember, he's been trying to tell Rey, I feel like he's been trying to tell Witherspoon, it's not confirmed, but he was trying to tell Rey that he loved her for the whole movie.
Well, no.
Tell me later.
No, JJ confirmed that he was going to tell Rey that he was force sensitive. That's what he was trying to say. And I didn't get that at all in the movie, but that's what JJ says. So I don't know. It does seem
I
like they
feel
either
we'll
forgot
shit
or they
for
cut
the
it
movie.
out. One of the many things they cut out, right?
Yeah, like there's this whole lead up. Yeah, there's this whole lead up, and then in the third act, it's completely dropped. There's no, and then he talks to Rose. Of all people, he tried. You know what I'm saying?
So.
Oh, what was also really cool in the movie is that the bad
Talking
guy
about Huts?
in the original movie, not the original.
The First Order dude.
I forget his name. Where he gets killed in this one. I thought that was really cool. He's like on the spot. Like, I don't.
Okay,
care
I liked
who
his.
wins. I just don't.
I liked his speech there. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Which I said okay, I can see that. I thought you told me to go on. I like that. And then I like the end where the guy says, like, he takes his gun and shoots the guy and says, let him know we found our traitor. Like, he knew.
So,
I thought that was
that scene, I liked his whole speech about Kylo or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it did show sort of a character arc for him. So that was pretty cool. He's not just blindly committed to the First Order. He has his own agendas as well, right? But that scene... I recently watched Rebels. The whole Rebels, right? All 4 seasons or whatever. That scene where he was like, I'm the spy and I'm doing spy things now was, I feel like, taken straight from Rebels. Because they had a scene very, very similar to that. Where there was this dude in the Empire and he was basically, he was against the Rebels the whole time. And one day some shit happens and he joins the rebels as a spy. And then he eventually gets, I'm not sure. Okay, he doesn't die. I keep thinking he dies. He doesn't die. But he eventually gets found out and all this stuff happens. But that mirrored Rebels so closely, I was like, this is so weird. And I think there was another scene that did the same thing, but I forget what it was. So I don't know. Yeah.
No,
but that's their stuff.
Like I said, I don't think
that's their own stuff.
I think they just, hey, remember that Rebels TV show? That's what I'm saying. It's like you remember that Disney show we did?
I'm not watching
Rebels? It. Yeah. I know there's a scene that will work really good in this part. I'm not watching it. Right? Oh yeah? What did it do?
Let's use it.
I don't know exactly. Here's the summary. And that's pretty much what... Yeah. There's a lot of things wrong with this movie. Like I said, if you don't know anything about Star Wars, I know for 100% fact you'll go in here.
Yeah, that's actually confused, a very good synopsis of the movie. You don't need to know anything. It's a fun thing to sit through the first time. Don't think about it.
The worst thing you could do going into this movie is no information about it. The moment you know who Luke Skywalker is, you've done failed. Go wait until the movie comes out, until DVD, and the bargain bin, and just get it for $12.
Alrighty, so we're coming up on an hour now. Do you have any final thoughts you want to say about the movie? Oops. My bad.
About the movie? No. I just don't know what to say other than...
If you could sum up the movie in one word, what would it be?
Why?
Or, if you could sum up the sequel trilogy in one word, what would it be? Why? I like it.
Probably why. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. It's like, I'm excited that they're doing Star Wars again. But it went from, let's do Star Wars. And the first movie, I admit, the first part of this trilogy had issues. But it was watchable, and I was excited for part 2. Then you went from let's do Star Wars to let's do our agendas. You know, the SJWs and all that. Let's do all that in this movie and just go. And then it's like, okay, well, thanks for there's no plot in it. And then the third one, it's now. I think all this would be really cool. We got to bring the people back for some reason, so let's bring Palpatine back, but let's not have a reason for it. And then at the same time, let's try to fix all the issues the other one did. At the same time, let's bring Leia back after she, tried to get her. And let's at the same time, let's have a love interest and then not follow through at the same. It's like, okay, they tried to fix too much in this movie. Then they added too much to the movie. They couldn't follow through with all the things they did.
And
if that makes any sense. Instead of having one plot and 3 subplots, they had 4 main plots and 12 subplots, and they all couldn't match.
Yeah, I would say if you somehow made it to the end of this video and you haven't seen the sequel trilogy, right? I would say go back. Just go ahead and go watch A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. You'll get a very similar story, but it'll be much better. So, that's my final words.
I think if you go with all the hate that the prequels get, you watch the prequels. Well, watch the prequels in order. Watch Rogue One, then go into the original trilogy. I think that'll be one hell of a movie experience compared to adding this.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I think that would be complete, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. A lot of people say it's their favorite one, so definitely don't sleep on it. It felt like Star Wars. That's crazy.
That felt like Star Wars. Why? Like,
yeah,
and it's the same freaking people. That pisses me off. Like, you did this really good movie, then you did a movie nobody asked for, and then you like just bundle it all together and just make one. All
right, and with that, I think we're done. So, thanks everybody for watching, and this has been our Rise of Skywalker review, which turned into a sequel trilogy review, which turned into Star Wars review. So thanks everybody for watching. This is Mob. That's Noob. We'll see you guys next time.